What's up everybody? Today I'm going to be making my pre-patch Legion Arms Warrior guide like I promised you in my last Fury guide. So I'm just going to be going over the basics, gearing and stat priority, rotation, and talents. So first we're going to go over gearing and stat priority. Basically, as an Arms Warrior, the only thing you need to do is stack Mastery. Mastery increases the damage of your Colossus Smash, so that's what you want to build as much as you possibly can, because Colossus Smash takes a ton of damage out and also increases the damage dealt by all of your other abilities such as Mortal Strike, Overpower, and Slam. So you definitely want to build as much Mastery as you possibly can, and then all the other stats just kind of fall into place. You want to get a little bit of crit. Definitely a little bit of haste and versatility to throw in there would be also good to increase damage. So when you get your enchants, you want to enchant your neck with Mastery, your back with Mastery, and get Mark of the Bleeding Hollow on your weapon for another proc of Mastery. So that's really all you need to know with gearing and stats, is just get as much Mastery as you can. You want to get the 4-piece bonus though, of course. So I've got these legs that give me versatility and mastery, so I have the rest, because when you get that 4-piece set, you get two abilities. One is when you use charge, the critical strike chance of your next mortal strike is increased by 50%, and then also you now generate rage from taking damage, so you definitely want to get those set bonuses. Next we're moving on to talents. You got the first one, your level 15 talent. You can either choose Dauntless, Overpower, or Sweeping Strikes. Sweeping Strikes is an AoE cleave ability. Mortal Strike can execute hit a secondary nearby target. So if you use Mortal Strike or execute on a target you're attacking and there's another enemy next to him, they both will take damage from Mortal Strike and execute. So I will be telling you about another good AoE cleave build after I get done with this one. And then Dauntless is another decent ability. Your abilities cost 20% less rage, so that can be very helpful and useful. And then there's Overpower, which is what I go with. Overpower is a really good damage dealing ability, and I definitely like it because it does a lot of damage and it fits well into my rotation. Then you got your level 30 talent, Shockwave, Stormbolt, and Double Time. Double Time is just for 1v1ing a mage, or if you're in arenas and you have to verse a mage, it is just so you can charge back in after they blink, and that's really all it's useful for. Stormbolt is a single target stun, so if you're more into single target attacking as an Arms Warrior, you definitely want to go with Stormbolt. Or if you're in arenas and you want to stun a healer to finish off a DPS in twos, you can do that, or vice versa. And then you also have Shockwave. Shockwave is better for RBGs and just normal BGs. It stuns multiple targets that are in front of you, so if you're in a battleground and you're trying to kill a healer, you can stun the healer, and if he has a couple DPS guarding him, trying to keep him alive, you will also stun them to try to finish off that heals, or vice versa with that too. Then you got your level 45 talent, Fervor of Battle, Rend, and Avatar. Fervor of Battle is another AoE cleave ability, which Whirlwind deals 30% increased damage to your primary target. So basically all it does is it increases your damage by 30% with your Whirlwind. Rend is a very good talent. It is now a talent also, if anyone did not know that, because it used to be a regular ability with Arms Warrior, and it is just a bleed that causes 32,000 damage over 15 seconds. And I feel like it will be better at 110, but for now, I go with Avatar because it gives me an extra 20% damage increase and removing all roots and snares, so it fits in well with my burst. Then you got your level 60 talent, Second Wind, Bounding Stride, and Defensive Stance. Second Wind is a PvE talent. You do not want to go with it because you're not going to be out of combat for any extended period of time, especially in arenas. Bounding Stride is a very good talent. It reduces the cooldown on Heroic Leap by 15 seconds, and Heroic Leap now also increases your run speed by 70% for 3 seconds. So it's very useful if you're in battlegrounds and you're trying to peel to a healer because you're taking a lot of damage. You can use that, or if you're just trying to kite somebody around a pillar or anything like that, you can do that with Bounding Stride. But right now, as an Arms Warrior, we have no self-healing, really. So the best way to up your survivability is by choosing Defensive Stance so that you take 20% less damage. Then you got your level 75 talent. You got In for the Kill, Mortal Combo, and Focused Rage. In for the Kill is a PvE talent. I would not choose it. I would go with either Mortal Combo or Focused Rage. And I'm going to go over Focused Rage first. Focus your Rage on your next Mortal Strike, increasing its damage by 50%, stacking up to 3 times. So basically, you click Focus Rage 3 times. Every time it comes off cooldown, it only has a 1.36 second cooldown. So you can keep clicking it. Once you get to 3 stacks, you use Mortal Strike, and it does 10 times more damage than it would. You get really crazy crits. Focused Rage, I would definitely recommend trying because it is a great talent, and it does a lot of damage. But I'm going to go with Mortal Combo because Mortal Strike now has a maximum of 2 charges. And the reasoning behind that is that Mortal Combo it gets rid of your rage a lot faster, and you spend rage faster. And the reason why you want to spend rage faster is because you want to proc your Tactician. And Tactician is you have a 0.65% chance per rage spent to reset the remaining cooldown on Colossus Smash and Mortal Strike. So the more rage you spend, the faster you spend rage, the more Tactician procs you will get. And you want to proc that as much as you possibly can because it procs Colossus Smash. And the more you use Colossus Smash, the better. Because like I said earlier, Colossus Smash enhances all the damage you do with all your other abilities. So you want Colossus Smash to be up on, you want to be able to apply it to your target as much as you possibly can. So that's why I go with Mortal Combo. Then you got your level 90 talent. You got Deadly Calm, Trauma, and Titanic Might. Titanic Might is a PvE talent. It's not good at all for PvP. I wouldn't go with it. Deadly Calm is a good ability. Battle Cry also reduces the rage cost of your abilities by 100% for the duration. So for that entire duration, the rage cost of your abilities is reduced by 100%. So you're not using any rage. So that's definitely a good thing. And while I'm talking about this talent, I'm also going to go over the new ability called Battle Cry. And you let loose a Battle Cry, granting 100% increased critical strike chance for 5 seconds. So for that 5 seconds, everything you do is going to crit no matter what. So that's definitely a good talent to have with Battle Cry. And Battle Cry is a great ability to have in your burst because it does all that extra crit for that 5 seconds. So I go with Trauma, though. Trauma, Slammin', and Whirlwind now cause the target to bleed for 20% additional damage over 6 seconds. So it's right now I'm using it as a single target bleed, which is good because it's doing extra damage. But if you do want to try out a different build than this, I would recommend trying the AoE Cleave talents, which is Sweeping Strikes, Fervor of Battle, and Trauma. And the reasoning for that is if you're in Battlegrounds, you can use Sweeping Strikes because every time Mortal Strike can execute, you're doing damage to other people around you, doing a shit ton of damage. Then you want to get Fervor of Battle and Trauma because if you're in the middle of a big group of people in Battlegrounds and you have full rage and you're just spamming Whirlwind, it not only is its damage increased by 30% for each person you hit, but every person you hit, you're applying trauma to them and doing the extra 20% additional damage. So you're just going to be getting a lot of AoE damage. So if you're looking for big numbers in Battlegrounds, that's definitely what you want to go with. Then you got your level 100 talent. You got Anger Management, Opportunity Strikes, and Ravager. Ravager is terrible in my opinion. It replaces Bladestorm, and that's not something you want to do because Bladestorm does decent damage and it gets you out of roots and snares. So it's definitely something you do not want to have. Ravager is not something you want to have. Anger Management is a great talent. Every 10 rage you spend reduces the remaining cooldown on Battle Cry by 1 second. So it's going to make your Battle Cry come off cooldown a lot faster, which is a good thing because just like with Colossus Smash, you want to be using Battle Cry as much as you can because it increases your crit by 100% for 5 seconds. So having Anger Management is a great thing to have to get that Battle Cry to come up a lot more often. But right now, I'm experimenting with Opportunity Strikes, and your melee abilities have up to a 60% chance based on the target's missing health to trigger an extra attack that deals 13,000 physical damage. So that is what I'm going with right now, and it works for me. So I'm probably going to switch back to Anger Management for my Battle Cry to come off cooldown more often, but this is what I use for now. Alright, so now I'm basically going to go over my rotation. But first, before I do that, I'm going to go over the 2 macros that I use, just so you all know what I'm doing. I'm not big into macros, so they're very basic. My first one is my charge macro, which all it does is just cast charge, and then also applies hamstring so that it slows my target. Then I also have my burst macro, which casts my trinket, which I have the 389 mastery, and then increases my versatility by 1056 for 20 seconds for extra damage. Then my macro also casts avatar for the extra 20% damage. And then also, if I use my macro, like if I charge in and somebody roots or snares me and I use my macro, it's going to get me out of that casting avatar because it gets you out of roots and snares. And then also cast battle cry for that 100% crit for 5 seconds. So that's all my macro does, is it gives me a bunch of increased damage. Also, I do have a Bladestorm macro, but right now all it does is Bladestorm, but I am going to add the cancel aura to that. So if I'm Bladestorming and I have the cancel aura added to this, it'll stop me from Bladestorming in the middle of it so that I can execute somebody. So that I will add later on. So I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so when it comes to your rotation, there is a priority system, and of course, the first thing you want to do after popping all your cooldowns is apply Colossus Smash. So of course, the first thing you're going to do, obviously, is charge in as a warrior. You can apply hamstring first or after you're stunned. I recommend probably stunning your target first with Stormbolt to keep them in place. And if they do choose to trinket, you can apply hamstring directly after you use Stormbolt to make sure that they're slowed still. Then of course you want to pop your burst macro, and I do recommend getting a burst macro to make it easier to apply all of your extra damage abilities like Avatar and Battle Cry, and of course your trinket. Then of course after that you want to use Colossus Smash, because that is going to increase the damage you deal with all your abilities. So you want to apply that first, and then Overpower usually does proc. So you want to use Overpower, then use both of your Mortal Strikes, and then after that Slam. So you basically want to keep hitting Slam until Mortal Strike comes back up. And then the two things that are going to proc during your rotation are Overpower, and your Tactician will proc, and you'll get a Colossus Smash proc. So you want to use your Overpower proc every time it procs. And every time Tactician procs, you want to use Colossus Smash. So of course, in a situation where Overpower procs and your Tactician procs, it makes your Colossus Smash proc, you definitely want to use Colossus Smash first so that Overpower proc does more damage. So now, just to show you how much damage it does and to show you what it looks like to do the rotation, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So of course, first, you're going to charge in, stun, then you're going to pop your burst macro, Colossus Smash, Overpower, then use Mortal Strike twice, Slam, Overpower again, Tactician proc, so I'm going to go ahead and use Colossus Smash again, Overpower, both my Mortal Strikes again, and just keep doing that over and over again. Tactician proc again, so I'm going to go ahead and use that, Overpower, and Mortal Strike again. And then of course, after that, you can also add in your Bladestorm, because everyone knows Bladestorm is completely badass. So basically, you can see how much damage it does. It's not the best rotation ever like Draenor, but it is a good rotation for now. It does good damage, and if you are planning on doing single target damage, you will definitely wreck anybody that you go against. So yeah, basically that is all I can tell you about Arms Warriors at this point. I do believe things will get better once we get into Legion and get our honor talents. I believe we will be doing more damage and have better survivability. So for now, that's all I can give you guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and I will be making more in-depth guides once Legion does come out. Thank you very much for watching, and have